And good evening, Facebook friends. It is Friday night. It is time for us to chat here on Facebook Live. But tonight, instead of talking about a number of different issues, we're going to talk about the one issue that everybody is concerned and thinking about tonight. And that, of course, is the horrible mass shooting that we saw over at the FedEx facility last night. And just within the last couple of hours, we have learned the names of the 8 victims who lost their lives. And tonight here on Facebook Live, I want to put them on the screen because I want you to see that these are the names of the 8 who walked into that FedEx facility last night thinking that that was going to be a normal work shift, and they never made it home. And so tonight, we want to go ahead and honor their memories by having you see their names. The victims range in age from 19 to 74. All of these FedEx workers gunned down last night, either in the parking lot or in the building as they were working or perhaps taking a lunch break last night. 32-year-old Matthew Alexander, 19-year-old Samaria Blackwell, 62-year-old Amarjeet Johal, 64-year-old Jaswinder Kaur, 68-year-old Jaswinder Sin, 48-year-old Amarjeet Khan, 19-year-old Carly Smith, and 74-year-old John Weissert. These are the names that I wanted you to know about because on this Friday night, we want you to know that these are your fellow Hoosiers. And our hearts have been breaking all day for their family members and the other Hoosiers who were wounded last night in that horrible shooting. We have been covering this story up all along our digital platforms all day and, of course, on Channel 13. This is the picture of Amarjeet Johal, 66 years old, lost her life last night inside of that FedEx facility. And one of the other photos that I think we have, this is John Weissert, 74, inside of that facility tonight. And our prayers are with these family members who are grieving tonight the loss of their loved ones, the family members, the friends, the co-workers, the colleagues, everybody over at that FedEx facility. It's been a really, really difficult day. So let's bring you up to speed tonight here on Facebook Live and give you an update on the investigation. Our Alan Carter has been out all day long. So Alan, we've gone ahead and focused in on the victims because that is super important for all of us to know who lost their lives. But I think it's also important for us to know what police are saying about the suspect and what we know about motive and the weapon and what happened last night. So what can you tell us?
Well, Scott, first I do want to say that I think it's very important that we do keep those individuals in mind, the people that lost their lives, the people that were coming here to work for a shift, someplace that you shouldn't have to worry about whether or not you're going to be in danger or you could lose your life. And I think that we should keep those folks at the front of our minds as we continue to process all of what happened here. This is the FedEx facility. It has been an active crime scene for we're about 24 hours now. That's when the shots started happening, around 11 o'clock last night, so 23 hours at this point. The crime scene tape has come down, and most of the police presence has left, but there are some officers that remain here at this hour. Still, they told us that this will be an active scene for at least several days. You can see all of the cars that are in the parking lot. Those have not moved in the past 24 hours since this all happened yesterday. These are the workers here that were present when this happened, when the gunfire started in the parking lot. What we know is that this was what we can say is a former employee of FedEx, Brandon Scott Hull, 19 years old. Tell us that he got out of a vehicle and started firing without any warning. Some people were sitting in their cars when they were hit, shot, and killed. And then the gunfire went into the building. Other people were shot there. as you mentioned those names, it's important to remember that there's a certain section of our community that is hurting especially hard in this, because 4 members of the victims that were killed here were in the Sikh community, we want to wrap our arms around them tonight as much as we can, because those folks are hurting. But a total of 8 people killed, including the gunman, so 9 lives lost here. A tragic situation. One of the things that I covered tonight is talking to people, because some of the workers were allowed to come and retrieve their vehicles. I talked to one man who worked here. He was on his way into work last night, got a phone call. His mother also worked here with him, saying that his mother had been shot. He was some time out, but instead of turning away, he drove here, got here pretty early before anyone could give medical attention to his mother, and he was the person that started providing medical attention to her. We're told she was taken to the hospital. She is okay at this hour, is expected to survive, so that is certainly good news, but you could really see the hurt in his face, and we're going to share his story tonight at 11. But you could see the hurt in his face because he came to pick up his mother's car that still had bullet holes in it. The glass was shot out. But a tough situation, not just for the people that lost lives, but the people that were present. You can imagine that their lives will be shaken by all of this, Scott.
One of the other things that investigators revealed, I'm going to go ahead and just read this because I think it's important for our Facebook friends to understand what investigators know about this former FedEx worker who carried out last night's killing. Quoting here from the FBI, in March of 2020, so last year, the suspect's mother contacted law enforcement to report he might try to commit suicide by cop. The suspect was placed on an immediate detention mental health temporary hold by Metro Police. A shotgun was seized at his residence based on items observed in the suspect's bedroom at the time he was interviewed by the FBI in April of 2020. So a year ago, he was interviewed by the FBI. No racially motivated violent extremism ideology was identified during the course of the assessment, and no criminal violation was found. The shotgun was not returned to the suspect. So, Alan, this was somebody that authorities had their eye on, knew about, and family members knew that there was a problem. Mom calls authorities saying, look, my son may try to commit suicide by cop. That was 13 months ago. So I know that they're still not really talking about motive yet, but it's just something as we're processing what is happening and as we're learning more about what the investigation is revealing, we're passing on the information about what we are learning from investigators, Alan.
Yeah, and absolutely, devastating. And, it's certainly too early to speculate as whether something slipped through the cracks or something was missed here. But that's certainly something that's going to be part of this investigation, is figuring out, okay, what exactly was the history with this suspect? And, could this have been prevented in any way where people didn't lose their lives? And again, one of the things that struck me is that when I was looking at that suspect photo, that driver's license photo of the suspect there, 19 years old. And you can see it clearly in the face. I mean, this is a young person. So I don't know, that just hurts when you see someone so young and so much carnage and damage and so many lives obviously affected by this in the aftermath of a situation like that.
Right. Coming up tonight on 13 News at 11, we're going to talk about some of the expert advice that mental health experts are going to share with our viewers, because all of us are processing this differently. And we are feeling lots of different emotions tonight. And it's really important that as our community grieves through this horrible act of violence, that we get the help that we can. And so coming up tonight on 13 News at 11, we're going to talk about mental health and some of the things, some of the resources that are out there. We're also going to look at the timeline from last night's shooting. And we're going to, again, focus on those victims, because tonight we want to make sure that we honor their names. In fact, maybe we could put their names back up on the screen so you can see them one more time tonight as we think about their families, their friends, their colleagues who are hurting tonight. Be sure to join us for continuing coverage of the FedEx mass shooting coming up tonight on 13 News at 11. We'll see you then.